Them niggas gonna talk too.
Hell no. These niggas playing goofy games, I can't go for that. Try to make me fall for the bait, put on a show for that. Niggas know I got my stick on me, I ain't gotta show my shit.
The niggas the damn Swisher leads for the goddamn 50 cent when you buy the 5-pack. They're like 5-pack of that, what is it? Swisher 50 cent.
You know what I'm saying? We gonna get this endorsement, bro. We gonna start getting boxing shit to us and shit. That's terrible. Yeah, they gonna fuck with us, man. They ain't got no choice but to fuck with us. They finna start sending us boxes, man. You know what I'm saying?
Alright, so but it's Realmatic and I'm right back at it. I got my brody in here today, man.
What it do, man?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and let him introduce himself, but this is the Bridge founder, man.
Yeah, so I go by Cnote. I come out of Concord, North Carolina. I made my way to Charlotte, try to make some shape. That's basically what it is. Here I am.
So, Brody, how old are you?
25.
25? Yeah. How does it feel? Different life, different chapters. You out here, 25. What's the feeling like?
I ain't gonna hold you, bro. I like 24 hit, and it was like a quarter life crisis type shit. Where it's kind of like, all right, I ain't in school no more. I ain't really working no job. I was working at Amazon at the time.
Feel it?
And I didn't have the studios. I'm like, bro, man. It's about time to figure out what the fuck I'm doing with my life. Like, literally type shit. Goddamn. Bought the studio and everything. I got a studio. And now I feel like I'm on track.
So, bro, before we get into the studio and the origin of the BridgeCLT, let's talk about your hometown and how it was like growing up there.
Oh shit! Growing up in Concord really wasn't much to it. You feel me? Little like kind of suburban community. Niggas wasn't really on no like wild shit, nothing like that. We was really just goddamn going to Concord Mills, taking laps around the mall, going to the sports games and shit. Like you feel me? Like going to the football games, the basketball games, smoking dope. So it was really all to it. Yeah, it wasn't nothing like you feel me? It wasn't nothing going on through.
Okay, and what was your family like?
My family's in New York. My family's in Brooklyn. That's where I'm originally born. I'm born in Brooklyn. Moved to Concord when I was like 6 or 7. So all my family is in Brooklyn, and so or like in Florida. So it's really just me and my mom and dad at this point. So like, it's cool though, but I don't really have like close ties with the rest of my family like that. Just because we moved.
Okay.
And I got a brother too. My brother's my homie. That's my dog. He in Atlanta.
Okay. Is he in the music industry as well?
No, he's a geek. He's a computer geek.
Okay.
Yeah, he do like computer network security, like that type of thing. He like writing programs, writing codes and stuff. Some sort of network security shit.
Okay. So, does anyone else in your family work in music?
Nah, not really. Like my pops was always like a big fan of music, so like his music always playing in the house and stuff. Like that's what he wanted to do. He actually wanted to go into like audio engineering when he was like younger. When he was in Brooklyn, like in his 20s, my mama had told me when I started with this, he actually went and took like an entrance exam to get into audio engineering school. And my mother took it with him just because my mother wanted to try to take the test. She just that type of like scholar type thing, you know what I mean? So she just wanted to take the test. And my father failed the test and my mother passed the test. And they actually got into it for a little bit, like, you know, because my father like, yo, why do you even take this shit? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right. I feel it.
But yeah, but outside of that though, it ain't nobody else like really into music.
Okay, so I know that you just touched on your pop, so would you say he had like a profound influence on like your music taste or any different things that you like?
Well, my parents is both straight out of Haiti.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Oh, Haitian.
Yeah, they both straight out of Haiti, so there wasn't a lot of like rap and hip hop music playing in the crib. It was mostly like they call it compa or like zouk. Like, that's like the Haitian music. So it's mostly that, and then like my mama would play some like neo soul, but I wouldn't say those direct through. It was probably more influence on like just my sense of rhythm and stuff, like, you know what I mean, and liking music in that sense. But my actual music taste or anything to do with that, nah, it's like polar opposites. I can't listen to my music with them and like my parents in the car.
I feel you. So, bro, how does it feel to be the first person in your family to be working in this type of industry? Because when I think about being like the first person in my family to like, I guess, graduate college type thing, I feel like that's a different accomplishment. So when you're talking about music and the different ways that you're going with that and your current success with it, how do you feel about like being the first person in your family to do it?
Really, it's a blessing that they even like support it for real. Like me being the first one, and now they don't really have no like reference as to what success looks like in the field that I'm in.
Yeah.
The fact that they still support is a blessing. So I really appreciate that. But, I mean, outside of that, it just, I don't know, it kind of just is what it is. I've never been one to like want to be like anybody else in my family. Not like my family is like, you know, well, they're doing all right. But I just always wanted like, my mom worked a 9-to-5 job, like always at work. You know what I mean? Dad worked at a hotel. I was never like, well, I want to be like that. You know what I mean? So the fact that I kind of sprouted into something completely different, made it like completely random. You know what I'm saying?
So I do have this question for people a lot because it's just like, even when I was younger per se, I always felt like I was a little bit different. Like I never wanted to do anything regular. I always wanted to strive to do something great. So is that how you felt in the space? Like you didn't want to be like linked to a actual like 9-to-5 job. You would want to be more of like doing your own thing. Like,
I just don't like respond super well to like, I ain't gonna say like respond super well to authority. Like I'm respectful and all, but like if I don't want to do something, I'm not gonna do it. Like you feel me? Like that's like I'm really not gonna do that shit. And so like if I'm at a job and they're telling me to do this and I don't want to do it, I'm not gonna do it. Like, if I'm at a job and they're telling me I gotta come in on Christmas and I schedule off on Christmas, I'm not coming in on Christmas. Like you feel me? And that's gotten me in trouble like with certain jobs and stuff. And eventually it gets to the point where it's like, all right, well, I need some money. I need work. I need to do something.
all right.
Trying to figure it out. You're back to the wall.
Definitely. Back to the wall, different. But the thing with a job is, it's like, yo, the job's making, you feel me, whoever own it, they making millions type shit.
Hey.
They goddamn bringing in crazy bread. And even though they could goddamn pay their workers more, you feel me, they expect that your workers should be working, like, you feel me, 100% when you're not paying them,
like, come
you feel
on,
me, the
bro.
max that you can do. It wouldn't make
All
sense.
type of shit. They're using you like a puzzle piece sometimes, like, especially with scheduling. Because that's what got me out of my last job was when like they was just placing me wherever they wanted to place me in the schedule without coming to me about it.
Right.
You kind of just take like a different perspective on it. It's like, yo, like, what do y'all think I am? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I got a whole life outside of this, and the fact that y'all just think you can do that, I ain't got no respect for me. I'm out.
Facts, brother. I'm like, nobody wants to be working a job where you're goddamn doing the mannequin challenge type shit. Like, you know,
Right.
like working. I think my most hated job I had, even though you got perks at working at Foot Action, I'm like, I really didn't like, you feel me, just sitting there and like, you feel me, people, sometimes people come get the shoes, and either they gonna buy the shoes or they not, but like me just standing here for like $7.25 an hour, I was just like, that's dead, bro. Nigga, gotta find a different way. So what was your, I would say, tell me about like a time where you had like a difficult work experience. Like what made you really not want to work anymore?
Shit, really. So the last time I was driving for Amazon.
Okay.
And they it was around the holiday time, and they told me I had to come in on my off day. It was like the next day because the whole Amazon was gonna be closed during like the day of Christmas. Like I think it was like the 24th, 25th, and the 26th.
Yeah.
They told me it was gonna be closed, so I had to come in on my off day.
Okay.
I had something planned in here that day that I canceled because I was like, damn, I gotta go to work. At the end of the shift when they told me that, it was a different supervisor that asked me if I could come in the next day.
Okay.
And so that's when I realized that they lied to me. They lied, talking about something I had to come in, blah. They told me a lot of shit in my face, and that's when I was like, all right, I'm not coming back. Like I didn't go in that day, and I never went back. They're like, bro, you ain't about to, like, that's what I'm saying, like that type of shit. You ain't gonna lie to me, tell me I gotta be somewhere when I don't have to be there, and then I'm messing up what I'm trying to do, like based off of your lie.
Right.
Shit, me, bro, I'm out. Like, hey, what the fuck?
I think that's the biggest thing about just different jobs. It's like, okay, I might need this job to work, but you need people to work this job.
You feel me, bro?
You can't disrespect niggas' time. Like, like they'll really like just schedule you days where you normally wouldn't have to work. And talking about you have to come in, otherwise you feel me, it could be something against you. I'm like, that's that bullshit.
Bro, yeah. I'm just not one for that. I'm just not one for that.
So, all right. So you leave Amazon, and let's talk about like what was your okay? So you came from Concord, right?
Mm-hmm.
What made the move to Charlotte? Like what made Charlotte home? School?
Yeah, I went to UNC Charlotte, and so I was there studying economics and philosophy, and then that's when I did a couple things, but probably the most notable thing was Breadwinners, and that was like a financial literacy education like organization type thing.
Right.
And that's kind of when I first started. I felt like I was making some impact in Charlotte. Like, you feel me? Like outside of the school, outside of the university, it was like, okay, the city of Charlotte is feeling me. I actually had the goal then to get the key to the city. Which, like, it's still a goal of mine. Like, y'all gonna watch this, y'all gonna see me get awarded the key to the city. It's like, oh shit. And then niggas plan on that. But yeah, like, that's where my, like, I guess community outreach type shit started. Okay. But
so bro, let's touch a little bit more on Breadwinners, because even though I was there to, you feel me, see the different things that you were able to implement, other people might not know like all the financial literacy things. Like I remember you did the one workshop where you guys creatively broke down rap lyrics that did financial literacy, and we were talking about that one with I want to say J. Cole. He said on it was that KOD album where he was talking about how if you get $1 million, like most of us, when we not even dream, but when we're preparing to come onto that stage of wealth, it's like, okay, we might make our first meal, but he's saying in the song, even if you don't realize in the skit, that it's like, yo, your first meal is really like a good, you feel like 600,000.
Well, upcoming snatch all that shit, right?
That ain't crazy. But how do you feel about that? Like, when they taking half, niggas make their first M, but it's really about 6. Alright, so, bro, with the knowledge that you taking from just doing Breadwinners and the different financial literacy courses, what would you say about the take on if college is a scam or not?
I think it is what you make it, for real. So, like, if you go to college with intention to do something that requires a college degree, and then you get that college degree, and then you do what you wanted to do, you ain't get scammed. You feel me? And that's like the intended purpose of college. But like, if you go to college because you were kind of like coerced to, or like, convinced to by your parents or whatever, and then you get there, you feel like you don't really belong there, and you're studying something that shouldn't cost $40,000 to study, you know what I mean? Then you might feel like you got duped. But really, I just think it is what you make it.
Okay, so when you think about your college experience, how do you feel about the PWI versus HBCU argument?
I feel like you should do what you want to do, bro.
Yeah.
And outside of that, give a fuck about what other niggas talk about.
Okay, so was UNCC, which is the PWI, was that like you just felt like that was the right choice for you, per se?
Yeah, I have no complaints about the school, about the environment, the community at the school. I have absolutely no complaints about my experience there. I guess I can't speak on if there was a better option. I wouldn't know, because I did have other options that I would prefer. Like, I actually applied to UNCC last after my mama like, "You sure you don't want to go here?" Out of like everywhere else that I wanted to go. So, but I guess I could say I made it what I wanted it to be. You know what I mean? And I feel like I got something out of it. So like, I feel like it was the right choice. It was cool.
Okay. So you graduated from UNCC, and now we're here at the Bridge. So tell us, like, how do we get here? Like, how do you think of and bring this into life?
So the homie Simo has a studio down the hall, and I used to be in his studio kicking and smoking.
Yeah.
damn, like this environment is kind of like where I feel like it's kind of like where I belong, where I should be, type thing. And so I got a studio in here, and my plan was to make it like a podcast, like interview type studio.
Okay.
And it was like, okay, well, if I already be in CMO's studio and I'm meeting all these artists that he's recording, I could just bring them to my studio and do like an interview sort of thing and include like some sort of like freestyling type part of it. Similar to something like The Cave, you know what I mean? Or like the longer freestyle radio shows, especially with the booth. When the booth was in, I was excited and I was going to use it for the freestyle series that included like an interview series.
Right.
But yeah, so I guess that, I mean, then it became what it is off the strength of me, like allowing it to be as fluid as it should be. So like, if I was real like dead set on this being like a podcast studio that I was gonna run a podcast, then I probably would have hit like some sort of panic or some sort of like, you know what I mean? If it didn't go like how I wanted it to go, which it didn't. But like, since I was able to kind of adapt with it and get like make the best out of like what I had, it's cool.
Okay. So, were you always into music as in like engineering, or did that just come along with the process?
That came along with the process. That completely came along with the process. Like I said, when the booth was in here, it was like, damn, well, I might as well learn how to engineer, learn how to record music, and get some type of return on this studio, like ASAP, you know what I mean? So that, yeah, 100% part of the process.
Okay, so bro, I've been really impressed with the Bridge series that I've been seeing, and I'm just saying, like, what's the vision behind like the BridgeCLT? Like, what is this platform like? What do you want to do with it?
Basically, I feel like Charlotte should be a place that people like strive to get to pursue an artistic career. You know, I feel like we have the resources to create a community that can thrive.
Right.
But it's just, I guess it's not being managed correctly, or it's just not like as communitized as it should be. So that's why with the Bridge, I want to bring everything together and kind of create that sort of community that grows together and you know what I mean, shares the pool of networks that they have with each other, so that we grow and expand and expand and expand. And the Bridge is supposed to be like the catalyst to that.
Okay, very smooth. So coming off of that, the BridgeCLT, what are some of your proudest collaborations so far that you've done?
Fetty P, I had Fetty P come to do a Bridge session, like a video, and that was really fire because I had been listening to him a lot, and it was like, damn, I didn't think he was accessible at first, but it was just like, I mean, he's in Charlotte, I'm in Charlotte, trying to do something like for Charlotte. I'm gonna just, you know what I mean, spitball it. And I DM'd the manager, and I sent him a link to the page. I was like, yo, we'd love to have Fetty P come up here and do a video. He responded back in like an hour or two, and was like, yeah, give us the date and time, and we'll be there.
Yo.
And I was like, facts, word. You know, got something scheduled. And then the manager came first. The manager, I guess, kind of like, you know what I mean, just scope the spot, make sure it's straight. And then about 10, 15 minutes later, Fetty P walked through the door, and I was like, damn, like, I'm kind of like doing something, you know what I mean? I kind of got a little motion, like, you know what I mean? I got a little pull, like, I have value, you know what I mean? Somebody on Fetty P's stature, like, looks at me reaching out to him as sort of like an opportunity, you know what I mean? Or there's some sort of mutual benefit there that I can provide to somebody like him. That was dope.
That's dope as hell. So, Brody, when he came in, like, what was that experience like?
I mean, I don't want to say starstruck, honestly, because, like, it wouldn't be, that's not the first person that I didn't think I'd be able to reach that I've reached. You know what I mean? It's not the first time.
Right.
But it was definitely, like, a presence that you could feel when he walks in. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, like, I respected that, and it was dope.
Right. I think it is like a little weird because it's just like, even though it's real life and we know that you feel me, other people are like real people. It's like when you always see somebody like only behind the TV screen, you've never been in like a room where their presence, it always seems like a little weird when you do see them in person because now it's like, okay, you get to see them top down. This is how they're coming.
Yeah. It's pretty humbling though. It reminds you that they're a regular person because you see a regular person in front of you. Like, you know what I mean? And then especially as time passes, like, you know, hours pass or whatever, you start to build a little bit of a relationship. It's like, okay, word, like everybody does bleed the same type thing. You know what I mean? So it's cool. It's cool to be able to experience that. That's what this has afforded me. That experience.
Okay. So the Bridge series, how long did it take for that run to go?
Okay. It started off as a Cypher series, actually. So I was supposed to be pulling 4 or 5 artists, and I wanted them to actually have no relation. And that was like one of the first like initial concepts of the Bridge, was that all of these artists, you know what I mean, that had no relation were going to come together and rap together in Cypher. It was going to be a continuous series that went on and on and on. But it didn't necessarily work like that, but it evolved. What actually happened was I had a Cypher schedule, and only one person showed up, and that was Kane. He came, and so and so I was like, I guess you can just do like a music video type thing. You know, basically you just spit your verse. The cameraman was there and everything, but only he showed up, and so he did that. It turned out smooth, and it was like, word, run with this, like, you know what I mean, run with this concept, as well as continue with the Cyphers. But like, that was an introduction, as well as Cnote G also did a freestyle here. She did 2 freestyles here prior to me starting the series, and so that was dope too. And that was kind of like, I guess, like a little jump start, I guess.
Okay. So, when Fetty P came in for his series per se, would you say it was a quick process? Like, how did it go? Because I know you said he showed up soon.
Yeah. Or like what? Because the recording process, he actually like punched that in.
Okay.
So that was like straight off the top, and like that doesn't exist. Like that song doesn't exist anywhere else. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like a Bridge exclusive song. Like that's really cool. But I mean, he was here probably like, you know what I mean, a couple hours for us to record it, and then we went in the other room, or we shot some shots in here, and then shot some shots in the other studio that I got in here.
That's very hard, bro. I'm like, yo, you got a Fetty P exclusive, and I'm like, I caught on the Fetty P. I want to say it was the beginning of the pandemic. One of my homegirls had played like a couple songs on him, and I was just like, yo, I don't know what it is about this sound, but it's just like, yo, I'm really fucking with this. I'm like, yo, I like the storytelling behind it. I'm like, he's really from Charlotte. He's saying shit that like landmarks in Charlotte.
Very important to Charlotte. I feel like he's very important to Charlotte. And I think his time is gonna come soon.
Right.
You know what I mean? And whether it be that kind of like that feature that he lands, or that whatever hit song he might land, or whatever, his time's gonna come. And I genuinely believe that like the rest of Charlotte will see like a step forward in being like a national like gem to the arts.
Right. Like I feel like every city has had their time musically, but it's just like Charlotte is on the come up of finally becoming one of those cities, because you feel me, you have your Atlantas, you have your Memphis, you have your Los Angeles, you have your New Yorks, but it's just like Charlotte, outside of like Anthony Hamilton, the Baby, Fantasia, maybe.
Fantasia's
High Point.
High Point.
Oh, but didn't she stay out here? I think she's a familiar face out here. Type. But either way, I'm just saying, outside of that, we don't have we're not known as like a music scene yet. We just have notable people from here. So when it's pushing more towards that, I do see him being like one of the faces if Charlotte is to become that in the next coming years.
It's just because there's such an OG status about him that, you know what I mean, that's like kind of like he's older, so there's a certain respect that comes with his name. You know what I mean? Because you know, for like I guess I mean, you know, like he probably rapped what he like. Yeah, he did what he rapping about.
Right.
And like, it comes with the fact that he's older.
It definitely
He
seems
lived the life first and then started rapping. Like you could tell when people do that. You know what I mean?
right. It definitely comes off very authentic. Like it shouldn't be really pushed with it. So
shouts to Fetty.
big shouts out to Fetty. So with that being said, Brody, who are your top 5 artists out of Charlotte?
Top 5 artists out of Charlotte. I'm gonna give you a real personal list.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm gonna start with Fetty P, Mavi, the homies Goji and Nino. They gotta land somewhere in there, just off the strength.
Okay.
I ain't gonna play the rest of that game.
You're not gonna play the rest?
I'm not gonna play the rest of that game. Yeah, I interact with too many. Like, somebody gonna come back around and be like, "Hey, bro," like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
you ain't trying to leave nobody out.
type shit. So yeah, but them three are staples because Fetty P and Mavi genuinely like be rapping, like rap, like you feel me? They be spitting, and then Goji and Nino, they're like some of the firmest like supporters of the bridge. And I've been knowing Goji for a long time. Also, shouts to Deb, Father Deborah. Shouts to Cameron Butler. But like I said, that's gonna be more personal than anything. So I don't want nobody to come back, like, you know what I mean? But like those are ones, like some of the ones that really like held it down, like held the bridge down. You know what I mean? Show support early and all of that. So yeah, I guess that's probably 5 or 6 right there. Just off those extra names that I put out.
Okay, I feel that because I know that you worked with a lot of different artists just based on the different bridge series and just being in here and just seeing like the different faces that come in and out. So, what would you say is?
And my fault.
Yeah.
Shouts to JahMonte as well. Lord JahMonte, he be spitting. He got a certain rap style that's very unique, and I fuck with it and I believe in it. And he showed love as well. He showed love real early to the bridge. He actually showed love when I was unprepared for that. Actually, this is actually kind of an important part of the bridge because this was the first time that I was like, I had set up the space and I was like, all right, I'm about to do an interview and freestyle with the studio. And I reached out to JahMonte and he was fucking with me. He was like, yeah, all right, I'm gonna come in. And so he came with his daughter and we started to set up the interview and I was trying to like figure out the camera angle and all of that stuff, and I didn't really have no experience with any of this at the time. Like, this is my first run through, and this is also my first time like shooting my own interview and recording, like you know what I mean. So, like needless to say, it didn't like go well. Like you know what I mean, it didn't go very well, type thing. And so that's when I kind of had to like sit back and I was like, okay, wait a minute, like you know what I mean. This isn't as easy as like you know what I mean. It's not just butter trying to do what I'm like. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, shouts to JahMonte as well. Sure.
But when it's your first time doing something, it's just like, yo, sometimes you do get like, it could be a slight reality check, but it's like, yo, you know, this is a growing experience. Like, you know, exactly. It makes you want to do more.
Exactly, yeah. So definitely lessons learned and, you know what I mean, growth, experience and all of that stuff that I have to appreciate. Sure.
So Brody, let's get into your specific role in the music making process.
So I guess specifically me, I'm the engineer. I record, so I'll set up all this equipment, and the artists will just go in there, and they just rap into the mic, and then I'll capture all the vocals, layer it all up, and that's basically my purpose. And then most times what'll happen is I'll send the vocal stems out to a mixing engineer, and they'll do like the leveling and all of that stuff to like a level of expertise that I'm not quite at yet.
Okay.
And so that's like my role. But the studio has served a much bigger role in the music making process than I initially imagined it to serve. So people come in here and write their songs in here and then go record it somewhere else, but there's just something about the environment where they feel like they can write in here. They might have to get away from home to write or something like that, you know what I mean? With the Bridge series, some of those freestyles are those artists' first music videos. You know what I mean? That was their first time rapping to a camera and, like, you know what I mean, getting that product back. And it, like, you know what I mean? So it has served, the studio itself and the brand has served a much bigger role in the music making process than I had.
Okay. So, bro, what's unique about your engineering process? Like, is there anything extra that you, like, what's your twist to it?
This is shouts to Deborah. But what I've kind of learned to, like, or kind of like grown to do, specifically with him, is keep everything that gets recorded in the booth, including like little coughs and like little mess ups in the line. We might keep the messed up line and then have you go back over it, you know what I mean, and play with that first vocal mess up, you know what I mean, and just kind of like tweak the authentic like mess ups and try to keep like the recording process like a part of the song, you know what I mean, make the whole recording process a part of the song.
So it's like raw, like
yeah, you know what I mean,
we're like layering over like raw. Everything's just raw.
Mm-hmm. Like,
top.
There'll be certain stuff that I might catch while an artist is recording that the artist didn't think I would catch, and then when I play it back and I throw it in there somewhere and I might add like extra reverb, extra delay to it or something, I'm like, oh shit, like, that's hard, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's like something I'm gonna do with Dev. Hearing Dev do it, hearing Dev be like, yo, nah, keep that, you know what I mean? We're gonna mess with that, like, that's dope, and I think that's pretty unique in my recording style. Most people gonna want it to be perfect, you know what I mean? But it's like, nah, keep all of that.
Okay, so being in the engineering lane, who are some of your favorite, like, I would say either producer, engineer, artist combos?
Like, in the big leagues?
Yeah.
I'm gonna fuck with basically anything that Madlib or Alchemist touch. And so the whole Griselda and like Boldy lane, and then working with like Derringer and Alchemist and like Harry Fraud as well. And so like Harry Fraud and Currency. I guess that's like a light 808s to like no 808 type of sound. And then those like gritty street rappers that rap over it is like kind of like one of my preferred sounds, I guess, and that sort of subgenre of rap that comes in all of those producer artist combos within it.
Okay. So based off the names that you just said, I'm trying to figure out if the Charlotte top 5 is a little bit too difficult. Let's get into like your all-time top 5, if that might be a little less difficult.
Hov is probably number 1.
Okay, Jay.
Yeah, he's too raw. Like one of those rappers that started rapping after he did his, like, you know, whatever he did.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I gotta have appreciation for that. Big is up there. That's like easy though. Probably gonna throw Wayne in there, based off my age. Like, I'm 25, so like Wayne's prime was when I was like starting to like not just like hear music but like listen to it. You know what I mean? That's when Wayne was like snapping. So
yeah, you're going stupid.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Carter 2, Carter 3, like mixtape series and all of that. Like, Wayne gonna probably be up there. We'll probably throw Kendrick up there.
Okay.
For like some of like the new age appreciation. And I guess the last spot might be a toss-up. Nas and Ye, maybe.
Nas and Ye?
Yeah, for like two opposite
okay.
reasons. Like, Nas is like, kind of like one of those authentic, like, Queensbridge, like, hippie hop, like rap. Illmatic is what it is, you know what I mean? And he's still rapping now. Granted, I'm probably not as tapped in as others are to his current raps, but like the longevity is there and everything. I gotta have appreciation for that. And then, yeah, he kind of fell off the deep end recently, but there's something about his status and his character in the rap game and his impact that's kind of timeless. I believe it's timeless.
Okay. All right. So, is the Bridge series exclusive only to Charlotte artists?
Initially, it was supposed to be. That was my first idea. But the first non-Charlotte artist that's up there is Mitchie Soprano. Shouts to my dog. Shouts to my dog, Mitchie. But once he came down, and there was a couple other artists. Marco Plus. Shouts to Marco Plus also. He's out of Atlanta. Mitch is out of Houston. Marco Plus out of Atlanta. Those are the two artists that are not from Charlotte that are up there. And it's opened my eyes to the value of accepting artists from outside of Charlotte, as long as there's emphasis on the fact that it's all happening in Charlotte. You know what I mean? So that way we get more tapped into those communities in Atlanta and in Houston and wherever else other artists might come from, so that the other artists from Charlotte on the Bridge series get the opportunity to get those ears as well. You know what I mean? And so, no, it's not anymore.
So, I have a question. After working with so many different Charlotte artists and artists from different areas, when working on music here, do you feel like Charlotte is starting to grow its own type like sound?
Honestly, I don't hear it personally, which is I think a very beautiful thing. And I haven't been to a lot of other cities to know if like the mainstream artists in the city are like responsible for the whole sound, or if that's genuinely the sound of the city, you know what I mean? But like the sound of Atlanta might be like Future or like Thug or like, you know what I mean, the Metro production. But then you have artists like Marco Plus who don't sound like that. That's coming out of Atlanta. You know what I mean? And so like that's what I see in Charlotte is a lot of other sound. Like it's I hear every sound. I hear the lyricism. I hear the trap. I hear the gritty street rap. I hear it all like from Charlotte artists. So I couldn't say yes, it does have a sound. I don't think so.
Okay, so Charlotte doesn't have like a universal sound yet, but could you? I'm trying to figure out which lane would it shift toward, because Charlotte has so many different variety. It's kind of like a melting pot right now instead of like a one or a two sound type vibe.
Like just let it be that, you know what I mean? Instead of trying to find a sound for Charlotte. Like, I guess New York has a boom bap-ish sound because of the history of rap in New York, but there's not a substantial history of rap in Charlotte for there to be a soundscape that would come from it. Like even in Houston with the Screwed Up Click and DJ Screw and all of that, that's historical. And so that may be, you know what I mean, defined as the Houston sound. Charlotte doesn't have that, and so maybe we're on the way to that, or if it continues to exist as a melting pot kind of like soundscape, that would be cool to me too.
Okay. So who are some other artists that you can see yourself working with in the future?
Everybody that I'm working with now, like every single artist that I continuously work with, that I've been working with now, who would know who they are. And I don't want to start naming people and forget a name or something. But the people that I'm working with now are the people that I'll be working with 15, 20 years from now. So, sure.
So, is it, of course, you feel me, the different Charlotte artists, but like, is there anybody from outside the city, you feel me, that you would be glad to work with?
Well, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I am like so caught up in this like Charlotte rap shit, or really just like the bridge and what's going on in here. That like I don't have too much drive to like reach other artists to be working with. Like, you know what I mean? Like I need the people that I'm working with now to like that's where I'm hyper focused. You feel me? Like I'm not chasing no other like artists or nothing like that like at all. Anywhere.
Okay, so the BridgeCLT is more in-house based, but you feel me, you're open if other artists work.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. If somebody comes around, if an artist is in the city, you know what I mean, they're looking for a studio, and they come across the bridge, yeah, you feel me? I'm gonna take a session for sure. But as far as me, like chasing or trying to like intentionally attract or anything like that, like maybe if they're around, I might try to get to them, but like I'm not. It's not something that I'm like going after. It's something that I'm like intentional about.
So, based off working with these different artists, how do you feel about like what makes a song?
Honesty, for real. I think that's what makes a song. Is honesty and passion and like truth and then I guess some rhythm.
Okay.
Yeah, and that makes a song.
So that's the right ingredients for a goddamn hit.
Yeah.
Okay.
In my eyes, because I mean maybe not like you know what I mean a super hit or nothing like that, but like when I'm in here and I see an artist and I'm watching them record and they spitting from their soul, like that's the purest form of music that I see getting made in here.
Okay. So is there a right way to listen to music?
No, I don't think so. Because I think there's like a mood for it. Like there's a certain time for a certain sound that's universal. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think so.
Okay, so it's not like, okay, because I know some people listen to music for, you feel me? They listen to it for, I guess, cadence and vibe. Or some people might listen to it for lyrics and beat. So how would you feel like on different things like that? Like, what do you listen to it for?
I mean, it depends. If I listen to it or for, I guess, whatever I'm feeling, or maybe whatever I want to feel, or I guess whatever just kind of maybe happens to come up on YouTube or whatever platform I'm listening to music on. So like, if I'm turned, if it's the end of the day and I'm like thumbing or whatever, then I might listen to like some turnt music or something like that. You know what I mean? Or like, if I'm sitting here working on something, if I'm working on something and I'm trying to get locked in, I listen to something that's like less like lyrical. You know what I mean? Or even just less like loud. Like, you know what I mean? Just a smoother sound. Like whether that be R&B or just a more melodic like type rap or instrumentals or whatever. Yeah.
So, alright, so we've gotten through the bridge, we've gotten through the origin story, we wrapped up Cnote, how you came up in Concord. So I think my last question to ask is, when you're working with an artist, I know that you hear hits and you hear songs that even might not be so well in the ear. How do you feel about the different processes in between them? What are your reactions like?
It'd be some people that I'd be having to try to keep a straight face. I ain't gonna hold you. It's been time for niggas start rapping it out. Like, what the hell? Like, okay. But then there's certain people that come in and genuinely like, okay, just give them some time. You know what I mean? The fact that they're in here, the fact that they're paying for studio time, and they come in here and they're locked in, even if it don't sound good, I'm like, just give them some time. You know what I mean? They're like focused. They're putting their money where their mouth is. They really want to do the shit. So if it's not necessarily pleasing to the ear, depending on like their attitude behind it and what they like really look like they're trying to do. Yeah, like some people will still get my respect. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I guess everybody can get my respect, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not really gonna feel no type of like. I ain't gonna like judge them or whatever if it's not there, because it's not there yet. That's what I'm thinking. As long as they keep it.
So, alright, I would say, last question. What does Charlotte mean to you?
I mean, it's next to home. Being from a neighboring city and then like kind of like being developed through Charlotte, like, you know what I mean, and starting to like feel like I'm a part of something in Charlotte, and I'm having impact and I'm having influence in the city, and the city is like kind of starting to feel what I'm doing. Like maybe even if it's on the slightest, like, you know what I mean, I just know that it will come with time and with consistency. It's become like, I don't know, like I get next to home for real, if not home. That's what it is. Shouts to the vote.
Hell yeah,
Hope
Brady.
shit, never hope shit, you know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah. Any last comments or thoughts, Brady? Any questions?
Shit. Shouts to all my dogs, you know what I'm saying? Come get some studio time, come shop with me, you know what I'm saying? And that's what it is, for real. That's all it is.
And that's how we're gonna keep it relentlessly.
Yes, sir.